Hey guys, I'm Lev Vygotsky. I was born on November 17th, 1896 in a Russian empire. I attended the University of Moscow where I studied law, but in my personal time I chose to study philosophy. When I graduated from the university, I moved back home to teach philosophy and literature. In 1924, I had a great opportunity to present at the second All-Russian Psychoneurological Congress in Leningrad, where I talked about reflexological and psychological investigations. My presentation was apparently well received because I was offered a position at the Psychological Institute of Moscow. That same year, I accepted the position and moved to Moscow to work on a bunch of different sets of projects. During that period, I lived in the basement of the institute and had the opportunity to read a bunch of different archived materials that I could read and study. Not long after that, I was able to bring about the special education services in Russia, and I also reconstructed the Psychological Institute of Moscow. Some of my scientific investigations led to the development of the sociocultural theory of cognitive development. This theory is focused on how individual, social, and contextual issues impact human activity, especially learning and behavior. It investigates how social factors influence cognition and development and how social and cultural practice shape and define thought. It's focused on how learners are impacted by peers and how their social interactions influence their ability to acquire information. So, the main aspect of this theory is how social interactions impact the cognitive development. Another theme of the sociocultural theory is the idea of the zone of proximal development. And this is the level of development attained when children engage in social behavior. Full development of the ZPD depends on full social interaction. The range of skill that can be developed with adult guidance and peer collaboration exceeds what can be attained alone. In other words, it's the zone between what I can do and what I cannot do. It lands in the what can I do with help. This was understood as my way to describe the current and actual level of development of the learner and the next level attainable through the use of mediating, semiotic, and environmental tools and capable adults or peer facilitation. So another part of the zone of proximal development is scaffolding. And scaffolding is, I never used the term scaffolding. Instead, it was introduced by Wood, Bruner, and Ross in 1976. Fun fact. So scaffolding consists of the activities provided by the educator or a competent peer to support the student as he or she is led through the zone of proximal development. So some teaching styles that can be used from my theory would be to incorporate an abundance of interaction, negotiation, and collaboration between students and teachers. If you want to use this theory in your classroom, you really need to focus on peers talking to each other or teacher and student interaction. And this may sound similar to the cooperative learning, however, the sociocultural theory pays close attention to the discourse, norms, and practices associated with a particular discourse and practice communities. The goal of instruction is to support students to engage in the activities, talk, and use tools in a manner that is consistent with the practices of the community to which students are being introduced. So the zone of proximal development proves that differentiation needs to be enforced in the classroom. So teachers need, if you are using this theory in your classroom, you need to differentiate between students because not every student learns at the same pace, so you need to differentiate. There are some disadvantages to using my theory, but there's not that many. This theory does not take into account the effect of students' emotions that the effect students' emotions have on their learning. While students are interacting with each other, the classroom can be noisy, so that's a disadvantage. And an effective teacher will be needed to ensure that students can self-regulate and stay on task. Another disadvantage is that some students might be timid and might not thrive on the social learning environment because they would rather learn by themselves or in isolation. But while there are some disadvantages, there are also lots of advantages. It's very important for people to interact with peers, and an aspect of this theory is that students learn from more than just the teacher. For example, teachers can bring in experts to their classroom so that they can learn from other people besides the teacher or their other students. Like the teacher could bring in a doctor to talk about the your bone structure or something like that. Another advantage to this theory is that differentiation is an important part of this theory, like I said before, because of the zone of proximal development. And it's important for there to be differentiation among students because they don't all learn the same, like I said before. So I would really appreciate it if you used my theory of sociocultural cognitive development in your classrooms because it can help them develop their cognitive development. So, thank you.